Okay, welcome back. In the last video I explained effects and how they operate in the cue list. And this video this is gonna be the last video of kind of the general Lightforge knowledge and the knowledge that you need to get by week to week to week. I am gonna do one more video with kind of advanced features, and that video will help you if you need to change the groups panel, change the lights in there. Other than that, yeah. So I'm going to take a look at Submasters in this video. So a Submaster, I have these programmed already. They have to be programmed. Notice how these all say unassigned. So this one is house lights, and so I've programmed the house lights to be at full when this is up. Notice how the house lights come up to full when this is up. Submasters are essentially, you can actually think of them as sliders on a physical lighting console. What Submasters are designed to do is just kind of be an override. So like our haze, we use, my mouse won't drag today, we use Submasters for our haze because haze depends on the room and it depends on the time. So you can't really program haze very well, otherwise it's not gonna work great. So haze we use as Submasters. I also have the house lights up, so if ever an emergency were to happen, the house lights will come up. A nice thing about a Submaster is that it supersedes anything that a cue list is telling. So essentially what happens is that if I have the house lights at 18% here, and the cue list will tell them to, a cue list will tell them to be at 100%, they're going to be at 100%. But if the cue list tells the house lights to be at, let's see what they're at here, 14%, the house lights are going to be at, say, 100% right here in the Submaster. So a Submaster supersedes everything, and it never ever gets recorded into your cues. So if you're writing cues, you can have a Submaster up to 50%, and these lights are not affected. You can see if I click on a light here, it still shows 14% down here. Whoops, if I don't click down there. You can see that it's going to show what is, I guess it's not 14%, but what's in the cue list. So a Submaster is almost separate than a cue list. I'm going to show you how to program a Submaster, and that's pretty much it. One note about programming. So a Submaster only holds intensities. It does not hold any other values. So if I want my ellipsoidal beams to be at 100%, so a Submaster, you can take, let me back up. I want to have my ellipsoidal beams in a Submaster, and when the Submaster is at 100%, I want my ellipsoidal beams to be at 100%. So the way I go about doing this, I set the fixture how I want it. So I'm going to put my ellipsoidal beams at 100%. And now you right click on a Submaster, and you can say add selected fixtures, remove selected fixtures, track fixtures, select fixtures, rename, or clear Submaster. So I'm going to add selected fixtures. I'll call it ellipsoidal beams. Now, notice this is at 0%. I still have this up here. So if I release the ellipsoidal beams, now this is going to be at 100%. So one other thing to note is that this does not control the light exclusively. And what I mean by that is if I have the ellipsoidal at 50%, we'll say 50% here. Oh, fade is on. And I add a selected fixture, I can say this is ellipsoidal at 50%, because now that you can see here, let me release that, this thing at 50%, it's only going to show 25% up in the ellipsoidal beam preview thing. So, and when I go to full here, the ellipsoidal beams are still only at 50%. So what I'm trying to show you by that is that when you add a fixture to a Submaster, it's going to add the value that is currently on the light that is selected. So when you're programming Submasters, I made this mistake the first time I did it. You don't want to just click the light and click Add Selected Fixture, because if you do that, it's not going to do anything. It's going to say at 100% this light is still supposed to be at 0, so you can't go below 0, and it's just going to be at 0 all the time, and it's going to be off. So that's a note about recording Submasters. Submasters are saved with each show, with each lighting show, and that, you know, if you save lighting shows up here, you can new show, new cue list. A new show will actually delete all of your lights. You always want to, I always go from the show that I did the week before, and that's the basics of Submasters. And so actually, I'll add one more fun fact. If you're programming and need the lights to be specific, there's this lock feature. So we've covered release. That releases everything back to the cue list. We've covered, I haven't covered home, but home is essentially just a view thing. So if I have my groups panel over here, if I click home, it's just going to put them all back there. One other cool feature is lock. And so it locks the output values of the lights that are current and won't let them change. So if I have this, even if I have an effect going, you can see that the previews change here. What you can't see is, like, you can see that all the lights are changing. If I had this hooked up to the stage, nothing would be changing on stage right now because it's all locked. As soon as I click unlock, it's all going to jump to these values here and continue to be updated. So that's nice if you need to keep a scene during service, or if the sermon's happening and you need to record you need to record cues for the next song or something. That's a fun fact. And in the next video, I'm going to do an advanced features video, which basically means adding fixtures. And it might be a little bit longer. If you want to really, really understand how Lightforge works, that video will be for you.